chapters in the printed copy of this book. Jacques is the painter Claude Maurice, a little curly dog on heat, who would later be exposed by George Johnston as Clift's lover, and the source of his own debilitating sexual jealousy in two of his novels. Filmmakers have started to zero in on Hydra, the quality of the light, its unspoilt beauty and cubist white houses that are arranged in tiers from the port, giving the appearance of a perfect amphitheatre. Clift can sense what is happening to the island as more and more people arrive. She saves her most biting scorn for the film crew. The film that's being made in the later chapters of this book is Boy on a Dolphin, and the star is an 18-year-old Sophia Loren. And for the drifting existentialists who have all met Rilke's wife, or Dali, have questioning amoral eyes, and a steady fund of scandalously funny stories, the war generation who grew up to horror and inherited despair and disillusion. By contrast, many of those young newcomers to the island remembered Clift and Johnston as the most helpful of welcoming committees. When a 25-year-old Leonard Cohen arrived on Hydra in April 1960, he initially stayed in their spare room and later described how the local people had a great respect for the couple, because they lived as the islanders did, and that new people stopped at their table at Katsika's bar to drink with them and get advice on everything from where to buy their kerosene to what chemical to use to stop the toilet smelling. They were the focal point for foreigners on the island. They had a larger-than-life, a mythical quality. They drank more than other people. They wrote more. They got sick more. They got well more. They cursed more, and they blessed more. And they helped a great deal more. They were an inspiration. They had guts. They were real, tough, honest. They were the kind of people you meet less and less. Clift is a sensuous writer, ecstatic at times. When she is gloomy, the sea offers salvation. There is always the promise of immersion and renewal. Morning and evening, the harbour front seems to slip and slide in a moving green-gold mesh of water reflections. Diving from the high rocks offers a moment of freedom. Night swims, where the briny stars wake at a movement, work like a balm. In the daily, never-failing magic of the Gulf, her thoughts become most powerfully poetic. She finds herself yearning for oblivion as she swims in a storm filled with something that is terror and desire both, to ride on with the wild, wild horses to the waiting cliff, or to curl up small, close against the scaly rocks, to curl up small and let the wild horses ride over me. Peel Me a Lotus is strikingly different in tone from Mermaid Singing. Her darkest thoughts are never far from the surface. When the mad moon begins to shine on us with her other face, the original dream of escape darkens to a Boschian vision where angelic little girls called Aphrodite and Persephone crouch together dropping stones on newborn kittens, where eyes are white with trachoma, a baby dead of malnutrition is a swollen toad, where there should be a hand there's a grotesque claw, and all the bright young people who throng the cafe tables suddenly have the ultimate obscenity of necrophilia. Clift's original title for the book was A Handful of Quietness, from Ecclesiastes, which begins, "Again I observed all the oppression that takes place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, with no one to comfort them. The oppressors have great power, and their victims are helpless. So I concluded that the dead are better off than the living." It goes on to envy the unborn, and ends with this advice: better to have one handful with quietness than two handfuls with labour and a striving after wind. Handfuls with quietness were hard to come by in Clift's world, labouring as she was on the rocky road between first and second wave feminism, with no steady income and frustratingly torn between her many roles. She reports that she feels an enjoyable melancholia in imagining her own funeral cortege toiling up the mountain path among the rocks and olives, the chanting priests, the bells, and herself stretched out among the flowers, stiff and white as freshly pulled garlic stalk. She goes further into the future that doesn't contain her.